Hello, everybody. I am Dr. Debbie Pates, and welcome to Wellness Wednesday, a joint production of, I always say that recently, it's not really it's brought to you by the UCCS Wellness Center, which is where I work as a psychologist, and the Gallery of Contemporary Arts on campus. And if you haven't been by the gallery in a while, which actually I have not, there's a wonderful, I know this because I saw it online, it looks like a wonderful selection of outdoor art. And I am pretty excited. The weather's getting nicer now, so go take a walk, stroll over there. Back pre-COVID, sometimes parking could be a little bit tight, but I have a feeling you won't have a problem finding parking right now. Also, I'm looking, it's a kind of windy day now that the weather's getting warmer as well. If you haven't checked out the windmill project, which if you're in University Village and you're pulling out a Trader Joe's, pulling out where, like kind of in between the animal hospital and Trader Joe's, you could see it when you're at the traffic light there. It's right ahead of you, and it's a really it's beautiful in any circumstances. But if you go, I've been on a windy day, I haven't been in a windy evening, and in a windy day, the windmills are all going. It's really cool. They make a little noise, and I'm excited to go at night, which I've been waiting for it to get warm. I've wimped out a couple of windy winter nights, but because the windmills light up as well. So anyway, lots of exciting stuff going on at GOCA. We're still doing virtual therapy at the Wellness Center, but anyway, you didn't tune in for a public service announcement. You tuned in for yoga, presumably, so let's get to it. Come on into child's pose. Let your head rest on the mat and start to mindfully breathe. So of course you've been breathing all day, but really pay attention to your breath. You know, and sometimes we pay attention to our breath throughout the day. Maybe if we're exercising and we notice that our breathing has changed, or if we're nervous, we may notice our breathing has changed, and maybe your breathing changes but you're not aware of it. So one of the things that we can do in our yoga practice is start to, on purpose, in a non-judgmental way, bring awareness to the breath. You know, so there's no, oh, I don't know why I'm so out of breath doing this. It's not even that hard. There's no judgment, as you might do, let's say, if you were exercising. It's just noticing the breath and becoming curious about the quality of your breath. So bring some curiosity to that right now. In child's pose, your head is on the ground. So the breathing is perhaps a little bit impeded if your nose is touching your mat, or maybe just your nose being closer to your mat. Notice the quality of your breath. Is your breath deep? Is your breath shallow? Do you have a cold or something that's getting in the way of your breathing? And rather than needing to go into a story about it, try to let go of the story and just be present. The story takes us away from being present with what really is, because we're constructing what should be or what used to be or what isn't, you know. So allow the breath, allow your mind to be curious about the breath, and allow the breath to simply be as it is in the present moment. And the breath can be also a tool to help you come back as many times as necessary to the present moment. From child's pose, push up onto your hands and knees. And let's just go right into some movement. Lift your left leg up behind you and lift your right arm out in front of you, thumb facing up, so your hand's kind of in a handshake position. And your foot can be either flexed, so that you're pointing through your toes. No, that would be flexed. You're kind of pushing through your heel, pointed, and you'd be reaching through your toes. But whichever you're leading with, reach through your foot, reach through your hands, maybe even lift a little bit, working all the muscles on the back side of your body here. Maybe not all, but a lot. And then switch. I get this Harvard Health newsletter. Pointer flex, reach. And it mentioned this. It was talking about the benefits of exercise as we age. And it mentioned this position specifically as something that helps strengthen our bodies gently. Put your leg and your hand down and switch again. Left leg out, right leg. So thinking about this simple movement as something that can help you stay supple, stay strong. Switch again. As you age. I think about lifting. Well, I don't think about that, but now think about lifting. Lift your arm, lift your leg, feel your muscles working. And then put your right leg down, just kind of straight back and bring your left leg to join it. You're in high plank position. Heels pushing back, crown of your head, reaching forward, have your hands directly underneath your shoulders. So make some adjustments if you need to do that. And then simply lift your hips up and come on into downward facing dog. You can pedal out your dog, letting one heel sink as you bend the opposite knee if that feels good. Allowing the backs of your legs to begin to open up. I know when the weather gets warmer, a lot of times people get more active. So just noticing how, if you've had an increase in activity, that is showing up for you right now. Or notice whatever is showing up for you right now. And notice if when I said lots of people have an increase in activity, did you say, well, I haven't done that, maybe I'm a bad person, or whatever. Just become aware of the patterns. And then if you've been moving around a little bit in down dog, come to stillness. Breathe. Let your hips continue to rise, even though your body is still. There's probably micro movements that are happening, maybe some shaking in the arms, certainly rising and falling of your stomach, your chest as you breathe. And then take a bunch of baby steps and come to the top of your mat to hang in ragdoll. And let each baby step be a movement in and of itself. And then when you get to the top of your space, hang. Let your neck be long, let your head be heavy. You can sway back and forth if that feels good to you. And then continue to breathe. Let the breath come in and out of your nose if possible. Let go of your jaw, let go of anything you don't need to be holding on to. And think about this movement, right? Like it would, well, this is a pretty good movement. It's not very fancy, but it's pretty important in our lives. So we practice practical roll up to standing. We practice practical movements, functional movements. Come on up to standing, and when you get to standing, roll your shoulders up and back and down. Shine your palms forward. Lift your kneecaps, engage your quadriceps, and raise your arms up. And just stand in Tadasana, extended Tadasana. We were the pose we were in actually with your arms down like that, that's Tadasana. What we're in now is an extended Tadasana, arms up. And it's kind of like what we did before. Reach through your fingertips, Reach up, maybe look up, lift your arms, lift your gaze, lift your attitude, and then bring your palms together. Bring some of that goodness into your own heart. We need to start with ourselves, taking care of ourselves before we can take care of anyone else. On A, inhale your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Lift up halfway, lengthen, hands down on the floor, on your shins, on your thighs, anywhere that is comfortable for you to get length. And pause here, pause in this halfway lift. Reach through the crown of your head. Reach back with your tailbone. It might not seem, there may not be a whole lot of visible shifting, but you are engaging muscles, you are looking for length, and then forward fold, take that length down with you and sweep your arms up and rise with a flat back, taking that length up again, overhead, hands join together, and then bring your hands in to your heart. Sweep your arms up. Dive forward. Hands can always go through heart center. Halfway lift, lengthen. Forward fold, hands down underneath your shoulders. Step back to a high plank position. And let's hold high plank for a moment. So once again here in the Harvard Health newsletter, that's actually kind of written for old people, but 60 plus, I'm getting there myself. But my parents had a buy one, get one. And so I get it. And this was another movement that they talked about with knees up or down, but that maintains our strength. And it really truly is functional strength. So allow yourself to shake here. Put your knees down if it's becoming unbearable, right? And this is where, once again, we pay attention to what's going on. How's your breath? If your breath is increasing because this is hard, okay. But are you holding your breath? Is your breath becoming choppy? Are you kind of panicking as we hold this pose? And if so, drop your knees. You get no extra benefits by struggling. In fact, I'll talk more about this, that's counterproductive. Lower chaturanga, actually lower all the way to the ground. Untuck your toes and come on up into Cobra. Lift your hands up a little bit. Notice your feet. Feet are not lifted, feet are on the ground. Notice your back working here. As your arms lift, you can even squeeze your shoulder blades together, elbows in by your sides, and then come on down. Tuck your toes, bring your elbows back in by your sides. Push up, upper push up, high plank position, and lift your hips up, downward facing dog. So what's it called? CrossFit. CrossFit always talks about functional movement. I'm not so sure. They do a lot of weird stuff in CrossFit. You do certainly get fit. But yoga, so many of the things that we do, these really are functional movements that keep our bodies strong. Maybe not looking like, bodybuilders strong, but that keep our bodies strong in the ways that we really use our bodies, even if we weren't going to be in downward facing dog today. You don't have to go to down dog. That's like, as I'm saying functional movement, maybe you're like, down dog, really? Look in between your hands. Make your way to the top of your space. Halfway lift, inhale. Uttanasana, forward fold. Sweep your arms up and out. Rise. Bring your hands overhead, hands together, and pull that energy into your heart. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Put your hands down, step back, high plank. This time lower all the way down again. Come all the way down again. Untuck your toes. And this time come on up into Cobra. And if you want to use no hands, go ahead. But maybe you can put a little weight in your hands. Keep your elbows in. And what you want to be doing is pulling, not just pushing your elbows straight. which your low back takes a lot of that, but pulling your heart forward and your shoulders back. You might even feel a stretch in your abdomen. Come on back down, touch your chin, tuck your toes, high plank, push up, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Look in between your hands, step to the top of your space, halfway lift, forward fold. Sweep up, rise, bring your hands together overhead, and bring your hands into your heart, and then lift your arms right back up again. You could shoot them up or circle sweep them around. Forward fold. Inhale up, halfway. Exhale down, come to plank, and once again, knees on or off the floor, lower all the way till you're laying on the ground. And this time, untuck your toes and bring your hands back so that keep your elbows in, but just slide your hands back to the point that your palms begin to come off the floor. Okay, so that's going to be different for everybody based on length of your arms, etc. But it's roughly at the top of your rib cage maybe. And then push up into Cobra, and your palms will come onto the ground. Keep pulling forward a little bit. You might be able to come up higher, but you want to still keep your hip bones on the ground. Come on down. Tee your arms out, or maybe have them by your side depending on your space, and lift everything. Come on up into Shalabhasana, locust. Lift up everything you can. And we're not just looking for lifting or height, we're looking for length. Bring your hands out in front of you, palms facing each other. Length. So first, reach your fingertips forward and your toes back, and then maybe you lift up. Or maybe that's enough. And then release everything down, hands underneath your shoulders. Come on up one more time into Cobra. Exhale back down. Tuck your toes. High plank, push up. Downward facing dog. Heart openers. So back bends are not intended to tweak your low back, although that is what happens to a lot of people. So when we think about back bends as heart openers, I think that can help people focus on what we're really going for in the movement, which is not crunching in your low back, but arcing in as much as we can in our spine, whole spine, in the opposite direction we usually are, which is hunching over. Look in between your hands, step to the top of your space, halfway lift, inhale, exhale, come on down, sweep your arms up, out, rise, hands together overhead, pull your energy into your heart, arms back up, chair pose, Utkatasana. So make a choice in Utkatasana. Actually, make a few choices. Start with making a choice with your feet. So do you want your feet together, or do you want your feet hip width? And then, based on that choice, if your feet are together, your knees are going to be together. And if your feet are hip width, then your knees are also going to be about hip width. So you don't want to have your feet hip width and your knees knocking in. Make a choice with your hands. You may have already done that as I kind of blabbed on. Do you want your hands up by your ears? Do you want your hands kind of parallel with your shoulders? Or maybe you have your hands by your heart. Sink lower. Wherever you are, sink a little bit lower. I know we've been holding this, so check in with your breath. Check in with your thoughts. Check in with what's going on. How are you talking to yourself? And how is that working for you? And then forward fold, straighten or straighten-ish your legs. Halfway lift, come on up. Step back, high plank. Lower chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Or cobra, you can always stick with cobra. And then exhale, downward facing dog. And if you want, from any cobra or down or cobra or up dog, you can always add a push-up like we've been doing. Lift your right leg up, let your left heel continue to sink. Bend your knee, open up your hip. And let's pause here. Reconnect with your palms. Think about your knee lifting and opening. Maybe you're looking under your right armpit. And then bring your leg back up and shift forward. Right knee to right elbow. Come on, back up. Shift forward, bring your right knee across your body towards your left elbow. Come on, back up. Down the middle, shift forward and plant your foot. Heel lines up under your knee. Spin your back foot flat and rise up to warrior one. Push into your left foot to get your left hip point facing toward the front. You want to try to have the pinky edge of your foot on the mat. Reach your arms up, biceps by your ears. Sink into your right knee. You can also think about, in addition to pushing into your left foot to get your left hip point forward, you can also think about pulling back your right hip crease. So warrior one, a closed hip position. Your hips are as best as your body allows, facing the front of the mat. And then warrior two is an open hip position. So as we move into warrior two, I want you to, for a moment, before we do it though, think about your two hip points, these knobby things in the front of your pelvis here, are trying to face forward. And as we move into warrior two, think about keeping your right knee tracking out as you open that left hip point to the left. Arms open, warrior two. And as always, if that didn't mean anything to you, please don't stress out about it. That's not what it's intended to do. These cues are intended to help you focus on your body, get deeper into these shapes, stay grounded in the present, not to criticize yourself. Reach forward. Extended side angle. Right arm down, left arm up. Maybe bottom arm is helping you roll your rib cage open, roll your heart open, keep your knee bent. Reverse your warrior. Right arm comes behind you, right fingertips reach, right knee continues to reach, and then windmill down. Step back to high plank. Chaturanga, or all the way down to the floor. Upward facing dog or cobra. Push up if you'd like. And then downward facing dog if you weren't in down dog already. Using this familiar sequence of movements to honestly and kindly check in with where you are today. Right heel sinks down as you lift your left leg up. Bend your left knee. Maybe look under your left armpit. Lifting with your knee, your heels coming down on the right foot. Breathing. And then bring your left leg back up. Shift forward, left knee toward left elbow. Come on back up. Left knee, right elbow. Come on back up. Keep breathing as we do that. Leg down the middle. Plant your heel underneath your knee. Spin your right foot flat. And with energy in both feet, right and left, come on up. Warrior one. I think by energy, energy, but I meant weight. So you don't want to have all your weight in your front foot there. Let's think about the closed hip position on this side as well. So perhaps you pull your right hip crease back a little bit. Maybe you push, or I meant left, sorry, left hip crease back a little bit. Maybe you push into the outer edge of your right foot. Sink into your right knee. Breathe. Arms reach up. So you ground down with your lower body, but you find lift and buoyancy in your upper body. And then remember, right hip point this time is going to open up as your left knee continues to track out, warrior two. Breathe. energy. In warrior two, you want your torso upright. You're not leaning forward. And if maybe you are leaning forward, but ideally in this position, your body, your torso's upright. So your arms are reaching forward into the future, back into the past, but your body and your brain grounded in the present. Reach forward now with your body, extended side angle. This time your right arm reaches up. By kind of allowing your arm to come back, your rib cage, your heart, reverse warrior. Left hand up and back, left knee forward. Right arm maybe coming down your leg, maybe behind your back. Inhale, reach. Windmill down. High plank. And then you can always just lift your hips right up to downward facing dog from here, or go through some of the other stuff that we've already been doing today. When you get to downward dog, breathe. Letting the breath continually remind you to be in the present moment. Look in between your hands and make your way to the top of your space. Halfway lift, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, forward fold, take the length down. Bend your knees, rise, Utkatasana. Stand up, bring your hands together and pull that into your heart. Inhale your arms up. Chair, flow that one time, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale, lengthen. Step back, high plank. Lower chaturanga. Upward facing. Downward facing, lift your right leg. Bring it through low lunge. Warrior one. Warrior two. Reach and extend. Reverse. High plank. Make your way to downward facing dog. Keep breathing as you move. Lift your left leg up. I don't think I did that on the other side. Step it through. Maybe I did. I forget. Warrior one. Warrior two. Reach, extended side angle. Reverse warrior. High plank. Low plank or the floor. Up dog. Downward facing dog. Looking between your hands. Step to the top of your space, half lift. Forward fold. Chair. And then rise up. Bring your hands together. And bring your hands into your heart. And pause. Bring your hands. Notice your breathing. My breathing increased a little bit, and notice any attributions you make to that breath, and if you can, just let it go. Let it go. Just noticing that you're breathing, how you're breathing, enjoying the movement, enjoying your body working. Lift your arms up. Chair pose. Forward fold. Lengthen halfway. Put your hands down, step back, high plank. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog to downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up. Bring your leg through, low lunge. Keep your back, well, come on up to crescent lunge. Crescent lunge. So in crescent lunge, again, bring your right hip crease back, left hip point forward, left heel goes back. Bring your hands to your heart, and let's take the twist. Left elbow outside of your right knee, of course. Feel free to drop your back knee if that gives you a better experience in this shape, right? Whatever that might mean. Whatever having a better experience might mean, you choose where your knee should be in order to help you make that happen. Let's come on into runner's lunge. Hands on the inside of your right foot, drop your left knee, toe heel your right foot up, and sink down to your degree. We're going to hold this a little bit and we're going to add a twist here, but we're not there yet. So be here. Be with your breath. Be with your big hip joint, your big leg muscles, your glute muscles, your arms. Maybe your upper body is resting. Maybe your arms are holding you up. And come on up onto your hands if you weren't there already. And maybe toe heel your right foot back in a little bit. And what we're going to do is, sometimes this is hard on people's knees. So you might want to fold over the side of your mat and put your left knee on this. And also try not to be right on the kneecap. Try to be kind of more on the top of your knee. Okay, and now bend your left knee, reach back with your right hand, and grab your left foot with your right hand. And try to grab your foot on the pinky side. And then roll open. Allow your shoulder to open. You could come onto the pinky edge of your right foot and let your right knee open a little bit. It's an intense quad stretch for your left leg. So maybe all of that rolling open I said is not possible because you're just working with the quad stretch, and that's good. That means you're getting something out of this shape that we're doing. Maybe you can roll your right shoulder open. Maybe the kick can help with that. Maybe you look up over your right shoulder. And then release. Ardha, Hanumanasana, half splits. Shift your hips back. And maybe walk your feet, your hands, toward your right foot. Maybe your right foot is flexed. And if it's not, maybe you give that a try. And your hand may not get very close to your foot. But even trying to get your hands close to your foot is helping your back lengthen. Trying to undo so much of that stuff, that hunching over and the rounding that we spend so much of our time in. Rebend your right knee. Put your hands, lift your left knee off the ground, hands on either side of your right foot. Step back, high plank. Make your way to downward facing dog. And from downward facing dog, lift your left leg up. Come on into crescent. Left hip crease comes back. Right hip points forward. Right heel reaches back. Hands together at your heart, twist. And again, whichever position your back knee, either up or down, is going to make you happier here, is the one that I would encourage you to take. What's so bad about being happy, right? If you're happy, that's one more happy person in the world. And that's got to be a good thing for all of our global energy, right? Untwist, runner's lunge. Toe heel your left foot up. So first, remember, we'll come into runner's lunge, and then we'll take that twist. Breathing. Coming back, whatever thoughts were going on in your head, just acknowledging them, and then returning to the feeling of your arms or your palms, whatever's on the floor, or your hands or your arms. Reconnect with bring attention to. Which parts of your arms are on the floor? Is it your elbows? Is it your forearms? Is it your flat palms? Is it the edge of your palms? Maybe you're laying all the way down. Bring awareness to your right knee. We'll get to folding over your mat if you haven't done that in a minute. Bring awareness to what part of your left foot is on the ground. Bring awareness to top of right foot on the ground. Neck, jaw, maybe even shake your neck out. Maybe not shake, but kind of roll your neck out a little bit. And then come on up. Palms on the floor now. Bring your left foot in a little bit more. Roll, fold over your mat if you need to cushion top of your right knee. And then reach back with your left hand. Reach back with your left hand. Bend your right knee. Grab your right foot. And so, like, I usually grab my right foot, either foot, on the big toe side. And then walk your hand up over your toes so that your thumb is facing up on the pinky side. And then rebend, come forward again. Maybe come on the outer edge of your left foot and roll open. Right? And again, if this is such an intense quad stretch, that's where you stop, okay, right? Remember, we all get the same benefits. We just do it according to what works in our own bodies. And wherever you are, let it be enough, because it's where you are anyway. So being mean to yourself about it doesn't change it. It just makes you feel bad. Release. Hands down, tuck your right toes, lift your right knee, step back, high plank, and make your way to downward facing dog. And from downward facing dog, drop your knees, maybe walk a little bit forward on your mat. Virasana, hero's pose. Separate your feet wider than your hips, sit your butt back. And if you can, keep going. Right? Keep going as far back as you can. We've opened up the quads a little bit, so you might get a little bit more movement here, a little bit further back, than you do other times. However far back you go, please keep your knees on the ground. Your knees don't have to stay together. They can widen, but please keep them on the ground. Your knees do not like the tension that results from being in this shape with them off the ground. And you get no benefit. You just stress out your knees. You strain your knees. And yoga can be about working hard, but it's never supposed to be about straining or endangering our joints, right? I mean, if you push it and you hear something snap or pop, you went too far. And really, that's on you. You need to be the one who makes the judgment call of how far back you go according to the signals that your body is sending you. If you're on your back or wherever you are, if you aren't in a seated position, come on up to seated. Crawl forward onto your hands and knees. Stay in a hands and knees position. And let's do a couple of cat-cows. And then walk your hands forward. So you're in a hands and knees position. Keep your legs the way they are. Walk your hands forward until your forehead comes on the ground, but your knees stay the way they were, lined up with your hips. Hanumanasana, heart opening pose. Maybe you squeeze your shoulder blades together. Maybe you allow your armpits to sort of hollow out. Breathe. I think last week think about squeezing your elbows a little bit toward each other and notice how that changes the sensation in your shoulders. And then let's thread the needle. You might need to walk your hands in a little bit. Slide your right hand, palm up, right hand underneath your left armpit, and turn your right ear to the mat. And you might need to make adjustments with your hip. You want to feel an opening in your right shoulder, maybe across the top of your right back. Well, I don't like it when I say that. I don't like it when other people say that. That's where a lot of people are going to feel it, but I don't know where you're going to feel it. I'm not only feeling it there, I'm feeling it in other places. So notice where you're feeling it. Breath, sending breath. Come on, back to center and switch sides. Left hand underneath your right armpit, left ear on the mat. And maybe you shift around a little bit to increase your sensation. You might move your right hand around a little bit. I don't know. Just finding something that allows you to feel. And then be with what it is that you're feeling. And practice calmness. We practice calmness on the mat. We practice being kind. We practice non-judgment so that we get better at it. And we can, ideally, take it off the mat where it's really going to count. Let's do another shoulder stretch here. Slide onto your belly. We'll do 2 more shoulder stretches. First, let's come on into bow pose, which is also a back bend / heart opener. Bend your knees. Grab your feet, this time from the inside, and then begin to kick your feet into your hands and lift whatever you can. And breathe. In Kundalini yoga, they say let your breath rock you. You can even, on purpose, rock back and forth a little bit, massaging your stomach muscles. If you don't like that, you don't have to do it. Just focus on the shoulder stretch, and then release, come down. Let's turn your arms up, palms up alongside your body. Turn your head to one side. Bow is a shape that often gets people's heart rate up, so feeling your heart and belly working for you. Turn your head to the opposite side, just stretching your neck a little bit here. Our necks do an awful lot of work for us. Pretty delicate. Giving your neck some love. And then bring your head back center. Tee out your arms. And what you're going to want to do, we're going to come onto the top of your left shoulder. And the way we're going to do that is lift your right leg up, bend your knee. You want to lift the whole leg up though. And you kind of roll onto your top of your left shoulder. You can bring your left ear onto the mat. You can let your right leg come behind you. So what we're going for here is a stretch across the top of your left shoulder. And come on back center. And same thing, other side. Lift your left leg up, bend your left knee, roll onto the top of your right shoulder and allow your left foot to come to the floor behind you. Sometimes people's low backs get a little tweaky in this. So move your foot around to help alleviate that. And if you can't alleviate that by moving your foot, then just come on out of the shape and take a little break, maybe doing the neck stretch some more. We don't take a whole lot of breaks in our lives. Maybe give yourself a few moments. Come on back center. And bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Elbows in by your sides. Tuck your toes. Push up to a upper push-up high plank position. Lift your hips. Downward facing dog. Take a couple of nice deep breaths in downward facing dog. And then step your right foot forward. Spin your left foot flat. Warrior 1. Open up. Warrior 2. Straighten your right knee. Let's come into triangle. Reach forward and tilt. Maybe again, using you ground down. You might use your bottom arm to help roll your rib cage open. Reach the crown of your head forward, getting length in both the underside of your body and the top side of your body. You can even bring your left arm over left bicep by your left ear, and maybe even you reach your right arm up as if you're holding, oh, I don't know, maybe a basketball. Reach, continue reaching, and then bring your arms back to original position and come up to standing. Turn your feet parallel to each other. Keep your arms out, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and bow Prasarita, wide-legged forward bend. Maybe grab onto your big toes or your heels. Maybe roll your weight forward a little bit, right? So we have a tendency to kind of sit back in this shape. So maybe roll your weight forward, bringing, you can't really tell, but bringing your hips more in line with your heels and your weight more into the balls of your feet. Opening through the back of your body, and then tear arms out, rise back up. My dog is sleeping on the couch that you can't see, and his tongue is sticking out and twitching. He looks silly. Warrior 2 to the front of your mat. Flip your right palm, reverse your warrior. And bring it down, high plank. Chaturanga, or any version of this vinyasa that's going to get you eventually to downward facing dog. And then lift your left leg up, step it through low lunge, warrior 1. Let's spin around here. Open up warrior 2. Left knee straightens, not automatically, you have to straighten it. Reach forward, reach, length on both sides. Tilt, triangle. So start with just finding the basic shape. Using muscle memory to get you there. Allowing your body to open and feel good, feel what you feel. And then maybe right bicep by your right ear. Left arm kind of up, holding that imaginary ball. Your breath can get deeper, get faster, but just keep it going. Back to original position. Your back is popping right now. Feels good. Stand up. And this time, turn your feet so that your heels are in, your toes are out, and bend really deeply into your left knee or your right knee. It doesn't really matter. You can allow your heel to come off the ground. And maybe, so this is, you can keep your hands on the floor. You can keep your hands at your heart. Some people's right foot is going to be flat. Some people's heel is going to come up. Whatever works for you. It's a deep groin stretch. Switch sides. So for me, I feel the stretch better when my hands are on the floor. But you get more balance and strength if you allow your hands to be up. Come back, switch sides again. Other side one more time. Going back to center and stand up all the way up. Warrior 2 to the front of your mat. Reverse your warrior. And take it down. But before you go, just come on into, keep your left foot where it is, drop your right knee, and just come on into pigeon. So bring your left foot across your body, walk your right knee back, make your way into half pigeon. So we're gonna be in this we'll do a minute here, and then an optional King Pigeon as well. So, I've been blabbing on here. We're a little bit into this already. Just enjoy the minute. King Pigeon, allowing yourself to start to slow down. We're not getting up off the mat again. Well, this has been on the mat the whole time. But we're not going to stand up anymore. Alright, so that's about a minute. If you want to, you could stay just as you are, or come up onto your forearms, bend your right knee. Alright, you might even come up onto your palms. Bend your right knee. Actually, yes, come up on your palms. And then this time reach back with your right hand and get your right foot. So this is as far as I can go in this shape. But some people can, I can get up a little higher, some people can get their foot into the crook of their elbow. And then some people can reach their left arm up and over and clasp hands. Woo, I can't do that. I can't even approximate that, but maybe, give it a try. You won't know whether you can do it or not until you try, if you chose to do that. And if you did choose to do that, come on out of it. Come up. Step back into downward facing dog. Just go right into it. And then bring your right knee forward. Pigeon on the right side. And 1 minute. Go. Letting it be delicious. Letting it be nice and juicy. Going as far as your body asks you without taking it too far. It just occurred to me that I might have forgotten to do Hanumanasana on the left side. So if I did forget that, and you remembered and it's been bugging you, when we finish this practice, then do a half split with your left leg straight. And in fact, I'll help us out with that. Kinda. All right. Come on up. Bend your left knee, reach back with your left hand. If you don't want to come up and do the King Pigeon, then just stay where you are. And maybe try to get your left foot into the crook of your left elbow. Maybe reach your right arm up and back. And you just try. We go where we can go. We do what we can do. And maybe we thank our bodies and we thank ourselves for trying. And then release. So let's see. Sit over onto your right hip. I'm going to try to get us there. Bring your left foot up and around and just come on up. I'm just trying to get us into Ardha Hanumanasana on the left side because I'm pretty sure I forgot it. So forward fold, half split over your left leg. Walk your hands toward your left foot, lengthening in your spine. And then, all right. Come on into, I want to do a seated spinal twist. So come on into sit on your butt and bring your left heel in by your right glute. Right foot comes up and over. You want your right foot as best as possible flat on the ground. Your right butt cheek on the ground as well. Bring your right hand behind you. Lift your left arm up. Turn to your right and bring your left elbow somewhere onto your right leg. Look over your right shoulder. But actually, before you look over your right shoulder, bring your chin in line with your chest as if you were looking straight forward. And notice that the twist is in your back, and then maybe you complete the twist by looking over your shoulder. But I don't want you guys to fake a twist by just turning your neck. And then release. Maybe you want to Do an open twist. So bring your legs out in front of you. Let's do a forward fold. Seated forward fold. Paschimottanasana. Arms up. And reach the crown of your head. You don't have to grab your toes, but you want to let your arms rest wherever they can on your legs, and maybe you flex your feet even so much your heels come off the ground. Get what you want, but you want to also try to remember lengthening through your spine. And then also now if you want, round a little bit. So let your chin come to your chest, and I invite you to notice the difference. How your back feels differently here perhaps. And then before we come to our seated twist, roll up. One more forward fold. I can't remember what it's called right now. Virasana, bound angle. Soles of your feet together, knees open wide, as you can see, because of the way my hips are constructed. My knees are pretty high up, but some people's knees are wide open on the ground. Grab onto your feet or ankles, and once again, bow forward, trying to get your head beyond your toes. We could do a version of this. You slide your hands underneath, your forearms underneath your shins, and you bring your hands to the top of your feet. That's called Hanumanasana, tortoise. You can kind of see why it rounds your back a little bit. And if you're in Hanumanasana or whichever version of this, then maybe allow your chin to come to your chest. Notice how the rounding feels different than the elongating. Come on back up, and we'll take that seated twist. So let your right foot come by your left glute, right knee on the ground, left foot comes over, etc., etc. Left hand behind you, reach up with your right arm, and keep your chin parallel to your chest. Twist. Bring your right elbow outside of your left leg. Maybe get a little more oomph there, and then perhaps you look over your left shoulder. Unwind. Maybe an open twist to the other side. Come back. Unwind your legs and lay down on your mat. Come on into Shavasana. Final resting pose, corpse pose. So if you feel like you need to do some of the shapes that we finish up with a lot, go ahead and do it. But we've done all of the stuff. We've done the twists. We've done the folding. Maybe just rest for a few minutes here. Right. It's springtime. I noticed this little tree I have in the front of my house is its leaves are starting to bud. Flowers are starting to come up, grass is starting to regenerate. But all of this new life comes as a result of the letting go of last year, right? Corpse pose, the letting go in order to make room for what's new. And wow, isn't this a season of making room for what's new? You know, coming out of, well, we're not really coming out of the pandemic, we're still in the pandemic. But it's starting to feel like there's light at the end of the tunnel. Right? So making room for what this new season, literally spring, but this new season of our lives, making room for what it's going to look like. And it's going to be different. We are different. The world is different. I mean, that's the same every time a new season rolls around. We are different, and the world is different than it was at the beginning of last spring and the spring before that, etc. But making room for, especially this year, where so much room for re-emergence, and choosing what you want that to look like as best as you have control over it, choosing that for yourself. We're at 1 o'clock. Start to bring movement back into your body, wiggling your fingers and your toes, maybe rolling your wrists around a little bit, perhaps one more time, turning your head side to side. And then in whatever way you like, come up to a seated position. And if you have the time, even if you don't have the time, inhale and exhale gratitude. And if you have more time, maybe spend a few moments dwelling in a space of gratitude for whatever it is that you are grateful for. We choose where we come from in life. I mean, not literally like I'm from New Jersey, I didn't choose that. But we choose how we want to live in this world, how we want to be in this world. And we can choose to come from a place of grasping and not enough, or we can choose to come from a place of gratitude, recognizing how much we have, how fine we are already, and just filling our hearts with gratefulness for all of that. As always, I am grateful to you for joining me on your mat. See you next Wednesday at noon. Namaste. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, rest of your week.